Gospel according to St. Matthew, the 10th chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to the 12, "Whoever welcomes you welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Whoever welcomes a prophet in the name of a prophet will receive a prophet's reward, and whoever welcomes a righteous person in the name of a righteous person will receive the reward of the righteous. And whoever gives even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones in the name of a disciple, truly I tell you, none of these will lose their reward." This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Whoever welcomes you welcomes me. That's what Jesus says. Whoever welcomes you welcomes me. When you hear the word welcome, what comes to mind for you? What do you think of? How do you like to be welcomed? With a comfy place to sit, with a snack, with a drink? Have you noticed that there are some people who take such deep joy in welcoming people with something to eat or drink when they first walk in? It's a sign that they have prepared for your visit, that they're happy to see you. In my second call, there was one woman I would visit regularly. Every time, without fail, she would have homemade cookies and tea ready. I learned quickly to show up at her house with an appetite, because she would not let me leave until I had eaten at least 3 cookies, and also send a container home with me. On the other hand, there are things sometimes that make us feel unwelcome. Right? You know when you knock on the door and the person opens the door, but it's just a little bit, not all the way? I mean, I do that to like solicitors. I'm intentionally trying to make them feel welcome. Or when you walk in and there's no place to sit, or it's winter and no one offers to take your coat. These things kind of make us feel like our host would be much happier if we just left, if we weren't there at all, like we're imposing on them just by being there. Jesus says, whoever welcomes you welcomes me. So whoever welcomes us in any setting is welcoming Christ, and whoever welcomes anyone is welcoming Christ. So we are called then to prepare a welcome for people, not just in our home, but everywhere. In our community, in our church, everywhere. We are called to make every space we inhabit a place of welcome where people feel seen and loved and taken for who they are. When we welcome people, I'm going to be talking pretty specifically about the church and our church community. When we welcome people, we do not say, "You are welcome," but only if you think the exact same way that I do. Or only if you look the exact same way that I do, or only if you live the exact same way that I do. That is not welcome. Or more specifically, that is not God's welcome. That is a welcome that is born out of our sinful impulses that expects everyone to conform to our way of being. That is a welcome that is born out of an assumption that everyone is already like us. And so when we're working out of that assumption, we may decide to host something in a space that only can be accessed by stairs, forgetting that there may be people with mobility issues. We may host something with a certain meal offering that maybe includes peanuts or some other very common allergen, not remembering that someone in our community has it. We cannot welcome people into spaces where they might not be safe, in body or in spirit. We cannot say, as a church community, "You are welcome here, but some people might deny your identity." We cannot say, "You are welcome here, but some people might not believe what you have to say when you describe your experiences." We cannot say, "You are welcome here, but some of us might not be willing to put ourselves out for you, to make small sacrifices for you." We cannot welcome people into a space where they cannot be who they are, where they might not be safe. To that end, all people are welcome, but not all behavior is welcome. You can think about this in terms of maybe a family reunion with maybe an aunt or an uncle who has a tendency to be pretty nasty, maybe when they've had a little too much to drink. And so maybe you say, Aunt Sue, Uncle Bob, you are welcome to come to this family reunion, but we may ask you to leave if your behavior becomes inappropriate. In that same way, someone who abuses or harms or disrespects others in the community is welcome, but only once they stop the hurtful behavior and seek reconciliation, because we want the other people to be welcomed without being afraid, without being harmed. These individuals are not unwelcome because of who they are, but because of the actions they choose to do. God's welcome is one of utter selflessness and sacrifice, of putting the one that we wish to welcome above the one who is doing the welcoming, putting the onus on the one doing the welcoming to make the space inviting, inclusive, accessible to the ones that we are welcoming. Whoever welcomes you welcomes me. On the flip side, there are spaces that we go into where we are the guest, yes? Communities where we are not hosting, we are guests. Community events, other congregations, other houses of worship, other cultural communities, whether that's a different gender, a different race, whatever it is, where we are the one being welcomed. We are the outsider. And I think that we have an onus in those cases to remember that we are not always the one doing the welcoming, that sometimes we are the guest, and that we have some responsibility too as guests. When we are in someone else's space, we are called to help the one who is welcoming see the love of God through us and what we do. So let's start if we're a guest in someone's home. What makes a rude guest? I mean, this notion of rude and, polite or good guest varies depending on our relationship with that person, right? Our expectations for someone we just kind of know as an acquaintance is very different than our expectations of a family member. But what makes a rude guest? Someone who makes you, text your friends venting frustration that this person is doing this. This is an audience participation question. So what makes a rude guest for you? What?
Loud.
Really loud. Really loud in your home. Maybe that's what it is for you. Anybody else? Yeah.
Does it come to the table when it's dinner time?
That is very rude. Thank you for that. Yes, not coming to the table at dinner time. Yeah, back there. Not taking off their shoes and then putting their feet on the furniture, right? Typically, we would not like that in our home. Maybe it's someone who starts going through your fridge without asking to find a snack. Someone who eats, oh, was there another hand? When they what?
Touch all your things.
Oh yeah, when they touch all your things without asking, especially if it's like fragile or you want to display it somewhere. Maybe it's someone who treats your pets poorly. That is someone you don't want back in your home. Maybe someone who disciplines your children for doing something that they are actually, in fact, allowed to do, right? Let's flip the coin. A lovely guest. Someone who you actually don't mind when they come to stay with you. What does that look like? What does a good guest look like? Helps with meal preparation, or at least offers, right? Sometimes it's easier just to do it ourselves, but they make the offer, and you can tell they're sincere about it. Maybe they spill something and work instantly to clean it up instead of just pretending like it didn't happen or leaving it for you. Maybe when they get ready to leave, they they ask you, should I strip the bed or put the towels by the washer? Yeah. Mindful of each other's space. That's an excellent answer. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, someone who does not mess or move your belongings, right? Who would want to go back and find your stuff all rearranged because you had a guest over? Maybe they bring you your favorite bottle of wine or a bag of your favorite coffee for you to have, right? These are things that make someone a good guest, someone we want to have in our space. So if we expand all of this out beyond our own personal homes, we can still see how this relates to how we interact in spaces where we become the guest. If someone is welcoming us into a new community, we're not asking them to rearrange their program based on what we would have done instead, right? We're not making a mess of their space. If we're talking about a different religious group welcoming us in, we're not disrespecting their worship space because they may have different customs when it comes to worship than we do. It's about thinking about the others in both cases. As the host and the guest, our primary role is to think about how we are showing love and respect and grace to the other people in our community. Jesus says, "Whoever welcomes you welcomes me." We are called in this verse to be both the gracious host and the gentle guest. We are called to be someone who exudes the love of Christ in what we do, and how we behave towards those who welcome us, and how we behave towards those who come to us for welcome. In the church, in our community, in our world, let us be beacons of Christ's love and welcome, creating, curating, filling spaces that are loving, compassionate, accessible, inclusive, and that keep people safe. Amen.
Amen.